They say Alaska's wild, but even that doesn't come close to the truth. Beneath its icy surface lie mysteries so bizarre they blur the line between science and science fiction. Fish are falling from the sky. Prehistoric monsters rising from the permafrost. Glowing slime with no known origin. Today we're diving into the 20 strangest things ever discovered in Alaska. Let's start. Imagine walking through a garden where trees grow upside down, their roots stretching into the sky while flowers bloom from baskets above. This strange place is real, found in Mendenhall Valley, Alaska. It began in 1985 when a landslide uprooted trees and wrecked a stream. A landscaper named Steve, brought in to fix the damage, had an idea. Instead of discarding an overturned stump, he planted it root up in the mud. Captivated by the odd sight, he repeated the process with dozens more. Today, this surreal garden is called the Flower Towers. Visitors flock to see the inverted forest, where blossoms hang from exposed roots. Even more bizarre, the trees are still alive, defying everything we know about how plants grow. For over 90 years, a ship has been drifting through Arctic waters around Alaska, and its current location remains unknown. The vessel, known as the Baikimo, has a history that sounds like something from a maritime mystery. Built in 1914, the Baikimo was a cargo ship transporting goods between Alaska and Canada. In 1931, it became trapped in Arctic ice near Cape Barrow. As winter neared, the crew realized they would be stuck until spring and decided to leave the ship temporarily. When they returned the following summer, the Baikimo had broken free and was drifting 50 kilometers away, still afloat and intact. Though still seaworthy, the owners deemed it too damaged to recover and left it behind. That's when the Baikimo's strange journey began. Over the years, it was reportedly seen drifting through Arctic waters with no one aboard, enduring harsh conditions that would challenge even modern vessels. Inuit hunters and scientists have described sightings near remote islands and across wide stretches of ocean. The last confirmed sighting was in 1969, but occasional reports continue to surface. Some believe the Baikimo may still be out there, an enduring mystery of the sea. Have you ever heard of another real-life mystery as strange as this one? Share it in the comments. We love these stories. Imagine if your entire city existed under one roof. Every neighbor, every business, every public service, all inside a single building. This isn't science fiction. It's Whittier, Alaska, where about 220 people live in a 14-story structure called the Big Gitch Towers. The building contains not just apartments, but also a post office, a general store, a police station, and the mayor's office. Children attend school through underground tunnels, meaning some residents can go weeks without stepping outside. This unique setup began during World War II, when the U.S. military built a port in this remote, weather-challenged location. To cope with the isolation, they developed a self-contained complex. After the military left, civilians moved in and stayed. What makes Whittier especially unusual is how closely everyone lives. In a town where your neighbor is just down the hall, residents have developed a careful social balance to maintain privacy and harmony. The building has endured powerful earthquakes and even a tsunami in 1964 that caused significant damage and loss of life. Yet the community remains, with residents saying their lifestyle fosters deep connections rarely found elsewhere. Love ancient mysteries in real-life time capsules? Hit that subscribe button. We dig up stories like this all the time. In 2013, archaeologists near the Tanana River found the remains of two infants buried in permafrost, one a newborn, the other lost during late pregnancy. Carbon dating showed they were about 11,500 years old. DNA revealed the infants shared a father but had different mothers from separate Native American lineages. Both were buried with red ochre, suggesting early ceremonial practices and spiritual beliefs. The site also showed signs of permanent settlement, like dwellings and hearths, proving these early Alaskans had structured communities much earlier than previously believed. This discovery changed how scientists view early human migration, showing that ancient people had complex social and cultural systems, not just survival instincts. At 6,000 feet above sea level, perched on a glacier in one of the most remote locations on Earth, sits what may be one of the world's most exclusive hotels. The Sheldon Chalet is accessible only by helicopter and offers a 3-day experience starting at $35,000, an escape unlike any other. The story begins in the 1960s with a bush pilot named Don Sheldon, who flew climbers and hunters into Alaska's most inaccessible mountains. Captivated by the pristine beauty of Ruth Glacier, he and his wife, Roberta, built a family cabin on the ice. For years, it was their private getaway, a place to experience nature at its purest. After Don's passing, his children inherited the property and faced a choice: let it fade, or turn it into something remarkable. They chose to build. From 2015 to 2018, they constructed a remote luxury lodge where every material, every board, nail, and pane of glass had to be flown in across rugged wilderness. Today, guests at the Sheldon Chalet find themselves completely unplugged. There's no internet, no cell service, and no modern distractions, just scheduled helicopter access in and out. Visitors witness the northern lights in an untouched sky, hear profound silence, and breathe clean mountain air, far from civilization. Sometimes, the most meaningful discoveries come in the smallest forms. In this case, it was a bone fragment just 3 centimeters long, found near Rangel Island in southeastern Alaska. For years, archaeologists believed it belonged to a bear and placed it in storage. Decades later, genetic testing revealed it came from a woman who lived more than 3,000 years ago. Scientists were able to extract enough DNA to learn about her ancestry. The findings were groundbreaking. This ancient woman descended from the earliest people to migrate from Siberia to North America, crossing the Bering Land Bridge around 23,000 years ago. Her DNA linked her to the Tlingit and other indigenous communities in North America, providing a direct connection between early migrants and present-day native peoples. What makes this discovery especially important is what it tells us about human resilience. Her ancestors survived one of history's most difficult migrations, crossing a frozen land bridge during the Ice Age, and went on to thrive in the challenging environment of Alaska. The bone fragment also showed that these early Alaskans preserved distinct genetic lineages for thousands of years, pointing to complex social systems and enduring cultural traditions that maintained group identities over time. In 2021, a group of Scottish researchers studying climate change near the remote town of Coldfoot discovered something unexpected in a rock face. What they found would deepen our understanding of how Ice Age animals lived and moved across the landscape. The object was a large, woolly mammoth tusk. When scientists analyzed the stable strontium isotopes within it, they uncovered one of the most detailed life histories of an ancient animal ever documented. This mammoth lived about 17,000 years ago and died at the age of 28. Over its lifetime, it traveled approximately 80,000 kilometers, about twice the Earth's circumference. Isotope data showed it moved between habitats at least 4 times, crossing wide areas of Alaska, likely in search of food and shelter. The findings also shed light on its social patterns. For the first 16 years of life, the mammoth likely traveled with a herd, following long-standing migration paths. After that, it began traveling alone, suggesting a possible shift due to changes in herd structure or environmental pressures. In its final year, the mammoth remained in northern Alaska, where it eventually died near the Brooks Range. The tusk now serves as a unique record of its movements and experiences, offering researchers valuable insight into how these Ice Age creatures adapted to a challenging and changing environment. In 2021, residents of the small village of Kivalina discovered something that puzzled scientists and drew international interest. Washing ashore along the Chukchi Sea were thousands of orange, bubble-like formations, unlike anything seen before. The material coated the beach in a thick, gelatinous layer with a bright orange color. Locals were both intrigued and concerned. Some speculated it might be pollution from a distant industrial source, while others wondered if it was related to changing climate patterns. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration quickly sent experts to collect samples. Their early theory was that the substance consisted of millions of tiny crustacean eggs, possibly from a species migrating through warming Arctic waters. However, lab analysis revealed something unexpected. The substance was not eggs, but a large concentration of fungal spores from a rust-type fungus. Even more surprisingly, the spores did not match any known subspecies. Researchers had discovered a previously unidentified species of fungus, one capable of producing billions of spores that had accumulated along the remote Alaskan shore. Yet questions remain. Where did this fungus originate? What caused it to release such a vast number of spores? And why had it gone unnoticed until now? In September 2023, researchers exploring the Pacific Ocean floor made a discovery that quickly drew global attention. At a depth of 3 kilometers attached to underwater rocks, they found a smooth, golden-colored sphere with an opening on one side. The object resembled a large egg, with a metallic sheen that stood out against its surroundings. Scientists initially speculated that it might be related to a deep-sea organism, possibly something that had used or created the structure, though no definitive explanation has yet emerged. Using advanced deep-sea robotics, the research team retrieved the object and brought it to the surface. Upon closer inspection, they realized it did not match anything previously recorded in scientific literature. Preliminary lab analysis suggested it might be related to the outer layer of a deep-sea sponge or worm, but the golden tint and nearly perfect spherical shape make classification difficult. Adding to the mystery is its location, 3 kilometers below the surface, in an environment marked by high pressure and near freezing temperatures. Any organism capable of creating or inhabiting such a structure would need to be highly adapted to extreme deep-sea conditions. The research team continues to study the specimen, but its origin and function remain unclear. The discovery is a reminder that the ocean's depths still hold many unknowns and science has only just begun to uncover them. Archaeologists found a massive skull on Alaska's northern coast, initially believing it belonged to a large polar bear. But its size and shape didn't match any known species. The elongated skull closely resembled descriptions from Inuit oral traditions of the weasel bear, a rare predator said to grow up to 3.5 meters long. According to Inuit elders, these animals had one unusual trait: they couldn't turn their heads quickly, making them both dangerous and vulnerable. While these stories were once considered folklore, the discovery gave new context to their accounts. DNA analysis showed the skull didn't match any known bear species, suggesting a possible separate evolutionary branch. Whether such animals still exist is unknown, but the find encouraged scientists to view indigenous oral histories as valuable sources of insight into past wildlife. In 2015, archaeologists from the University of Alaska were conducting excavations near the confluence of the Delta and Tanana rivers when they uncovered the remains of small children. Nearby, they found what may be some of the oldest known examples of artistic expression in North America. Just meters from the burial site, researchers discovered the remnants of a settlement dating back approximately 12,300 years. Among the tools and animal bones, they found carefully shaped bone pendants, some of the earliest known jewelry in the Americas. These were not simple decorations. Each pendant was carved from animal bone into a truncated cone with fine striations along the sides. Small holes were drilled into the narrow ends, likely so they could be worn around the neck. 2 complete pairs of these pendants were recovered. Their craftsmanship surprised researchers. Ben Potter from the University of Alaska suggested they may have held social significance, perhaps identifying skilled hunters or respected members of the group. What makes this discovery especially notable is the artistic detail and time investment required to create the pendants. This may indicate that early Alaskans had established social roles and cultural practices beyond basic survival. Rather than focusing solely on staying alive in the Arctic, these communities also engaged in meaningful cultural expression, shaping identity, tradition, and possibly even early forms of social organization. If you held one of these 12,000-year-old pendants in your hand, what do you think you'd feel? Awe? Grief? Connection? In the shrub tundra of Alaska lives a frog with a remarkable biological ability. The Alaskan wood frog can freeze solid in winter and survive, a feat that has fascinated scientists for years. These small amphibians, measuring about 3.5 to 7 centimeters long, use a survival strategy, unlike most animals. Instead of hibernating, they enter a frozen state when temperatures drop. During freezing, the frog's heart stops, blood flow halts, and ice forms throughout its body. By medical standards, the frog appears lifeless. Yet when spring arrives, it thaws and resumes activity as if nothing happened. Scientists have found that the frog produces natural cryoprotectants, mainly glucose and urea, which protect its cells from damage during freezing. Understanding this process could have important implications for human medicine, including organ preservation, emergency care, and possibly even long-term space travel. While research is ongoing, these frogs offer a unique glimpse into how life can adapt to extreme conditions. Researchers continue to study the Alaskan wood frog, hoping its biology might one day inspire new medical and scientific breakthroughs. In 2011, researchers discovered a small Alaskan island that offered a rare glimpse into life 200 million years ago. Just above sea level, they uncovered the fossilized remains of a marine reptile that challenged previous understandings of ancient ocean ecosystems. The creature, identified as a thalattosaur, had a long, slender snout with sharp, needle-like features, suggesting it was well adapted for hunting in prehistoric seas. This specimen is the first of its kind found intact in North America and was remarkably well preserved in Alaskan rock layers. Pat Druckenmiller, director of the University of Alaska Museum of the North, described the fossil as extraordinary. The animal's distinctive snout appeared to be designed for precise feeding in the ancient oceans that once covered what is now Alaska. The fossil's location, just a few feet above present-day sea level, makes the discovery even more significant. Researchers noted that had they arrived just a few years later, the remains could have been lost to erosion or rising sea levels. This thalattosaur represents a now extinct lineage of marine reptiles, providing rare insight into a branch of evolution that disappeared millions of years ago. While only one such specimen has been found in North America, its discovery suggests ancient Alaskan seas supported a more diverse array of marine life than previously documented. The fossil now serves as an important piece in the puzzle of how marine species evolved during one of Earth's most dynamic geological eras. On a barrier island along the Chukchi Sea, connected to Alaska's mainland by a narrow strip of land, sits the village of Kivalina, home to about 400 people who have lived there for generations. This community is facing a growing environmental challenge. Kivalina is steadily losing land due to rising sea levels and coastal erosion, which researchers describe as concerning. Studies suggest the village could become uninhabitable shortly if current trends continue. For centuries, residents have built a culture deeply rooted in their island surroundings, hunting, fishing, and maintaining traditions that connect them to the land and their ancestors. Now many are witnessing the gradual loss of that environment. What stands out is the community's response. While relocation plans are underway, many residents express a strong desire to stay, tied to a lifestyle and heritage that may not be replicable elsewhere. Kivalina is often cited as one of the first full communities in North America at risk of relocation due to climate-related changes. Government agencies are helping plan a move, but the cultural and emotional costs of leaving such a place are significant. Kivalina's story reflects the difficult choices some coastal communities may face as global sea levels continue to rise. In 2010, archaeologists working in eastern Alaska made a discovery that reshaped current understanding of early human settlement in North America. Near the Tanana River, they found the cremated remains of a 3-year-old child who had lived approximately 11,500 years ago. The find was notable not just for its age, but for what it revealed about the community's cultural practices. The child had been cremated in a hearth that had previously been used for cooking fish, birds, and small mammals. Researchers were especially struck by the apparent significance of the burial ritual. Following the cremation, the group abandoned the site, suggesting they viewed the area as spiritually meaningful and no longer appropriate for daily life. This behavior points to early expressions of belief systems and social organization. The site also provided evidence that these early Alaskans had begun shifting from a fully nomadic lifestyle to one that included semi-permanent dwellings, structured hearths, and food storage, extending the known timeline of settlement in the region. Most significantly, the discovery hints that even in ancient times, communities made decisions based on shared cultural and spiritual values. It highlights the presence of social bonds, symbolic thinking, and community identity among some of Alaska's earliest inhabitants. You've likely heard of the Bermuda Triangle, but Alaska has a region with its reputation for unexplained disappearances, the Alaska Triangle. It stretches from Juneau to Anchorage and up to Barrow. Reportedly, more than 16,000 people have gone missing in this vast and remote area. One early case occurred in 1950, when a military transport plane carrying 44 people disappeared. Another high-profile disappearance happened in 1972, involving the U.S. Congressman Thomas Hale Boggs and politician Nick Begich. Their disappearance prompted a major search operation, but no physical evidence was ever recovered. Some Tlingit stories describe Kushtaka, a spirit believed to mislead travelers. While scientists discount supernatural explanations, the number of cases has sparked ongoing interest and investigation. What adds to the mystery is that many incidents occurred during good weather and involved experienced pilots and outdoorsmen. Though theories range from environmental hazards to navigational challenges, no single explanation has accounted for all the cases. In the forests near Port Chatham, Alaska, locals have reported sightings of a mysterious creature known in legend as the Urauli, or Hairy Man, for nearly a century. Described as standing between 2 and 3 meters tall, it walks upright, with glowing red eyes, a long neck, and arms that reach down to its ankles. Covered in thick fur, it is said to endure the region's harsh climate. Unlike typical Bigfoot folklore, some accounts describe the Urauli as displaying intelligent and occasionally intimidating behavior. Reports began in the 1930s, when a series of unexplained disappearances and unsettling encounters were recorded. In one case, a man named Andrew Kamlock was found deceased in the woods, and another resident, Simon Vasnikov, reportedly vanished in the same area. Other residents, like Tom Larson, claimed to have seen the figure from a distance. He described it, silently observing him before retreating into the forest. Over time, large human-like footprints have been discovered along the forest edge, showing signs of upright walking and an unusually long stride. The most recent reported sighting was in 1999 when a hunter claimed to see a tall, hair-covered figure near the tree line. What makes the Urauli legend particularly intriguing is the consistent nature of descriptions passed down through generations, reflecting a long-standing cultural tradition and a pattern of shared storytelling in the region. Want more jaw-dropping discoveries from the edge of the earth? Subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive into prehistory. In the deep waters off Alaska, researchers discovered a strange species called Taonius borealis, or the cockatoo squid, first observed in 2023. Nearly transparent, these squids reveal their internal organs and have tentacles arranged like a cockatoo's crest. Unlike most cephalopods, they don't swim actively but drift with ocean currents, making them natural indicators of deep-sea movement. They also produce bioluminescent displays, which scientists describe as singing with light. These patterns can be coordinated across groups, suggesting a form of visual communication. Each squid has large red eyes, almost a quarter of its body size, possibly allowing it to see faint or even invisible wavelengths of light. Even more fascinating, they move in synchronized formations, hinting at complex behavior or environmental responses scientists are just beginning to explore. In 2015, several Alaskan communities woke up to find their streets and yards littered with strange, eel-like creatures. These were Pacific lampreys, also known as vampire fish, with circular mouths lined with sharp teeth used to latch onto other fish and feed on their blood. Residents were alarmed, fearing a bizarre plague or environmental crisis. Calls flooded local authorities as no one knew where the creatures came from. The cause turned out to be seagulls. During feeding frenzies, they had grabbed lampreys from the ocean and accidentally dropped them on land. Scientists later found that warming ocean temperatures had triggered a lamprey population boom, which drew large numbers of seabirds. This strange event pointed to a deeper issue. Alaska's marine ecosystems were shifting rapidly due to climate change, creating unpredictable effects throughout the food chain. In 1979, a gold miner near Fairbanks discovered something frozen in the permafrost, two large hooves. They belonged to Blue Babe, a steppe bison that died 36,000 years ago during the Ice Age. Unlike typical fossils, Blue Babe was fully mummified with skin, hair, and internal organs intact. Scientists studied its stomach contents, DNA, and muscles, even determining it was killed by an American lion, one of Alaska's ancient predators. The discovery revealed how Alaska's permafrost preserves Ice Age animals in extraordinary detail. Blue Babe lived in a world shared with woolly mammoths, saber-toothed cats, and giant bears, creatures that seem unreal today. Now on display at the University of Alaska Museum of the North, Blue Babe offers a rare, tangible connection to a time when humans and megafauna roamed a frozen, prehistoric Alaska. These 20 discoveries prove that Alaska remains one of Earth's most mysterious and fascinating places. From the depths of its oceans to the heights of its mountains, from its ancient permafrost to its modern communities, Alaska continues to reveal secrets that challenge our understanding of the natural world and our place within it. Whether you're interested in prehistoric life, unexplained phenomena, or the ongoing effects of climate change, Alaska serves as a laboratory where the impossible becomes reality and the strange becomes commonplace. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.